717 here on the Paul W. Smith Show on 760 WJR. Our next guest, Mr. Aaron Phelps, is an attorney at Varnum. He is currently representing clients in over 200 lawsuits against Rockford area shoe manufacturer Wolverine Worldwide. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to have a conversation about something known as perfluorooctane sulfonic acid. Boy, it's early to say that, but got it out nicely. PFAS, in other words. What is it? We're going to find out. Aaron, good morning.
Good morning.
Certainly hope I pronounce that okay. Whether or not that's the case, Aaron, not important. What it is it is a diabolical substance, and all of a sudden it is all over the news, sir.
Yes, it is. And in fact, it's probably until a few years ago something everybody used, it was exposed to, but very few people ever heard of. You've got it in your house, in your carpet, your furniture, was for some time in fast food wrappers, and now we're finding it in our water.
Aaron, and I also understand that it was also used in Teflon, and it was a key ingredient in the foam used to put out fires, extinguish fires. Is that correct?
That is correct. It's a ubiquitous substance for sure. The firefighting foam has been a big use, and that has also led to a lot of the contamination because, of course, when firefighters either put out real fires or they do drills, that just gets sprayed right on the ground. It washes into the rivers, ends up in the groundwater. And the other big source of contamination is any industrial use where it has been dumped either just on the ground or leaks. Landfills can also be a source as it breaks down. It ends up into the surface and groundwater.
First question, Aaron, for it to be as widespread as we now know it to be, how long ago did somebody decide that this is a dangerous substance and it shouldn't be used in anything anymore?
Well, it depends on who the somebody is. If you go back to the original manufacturer, 3M, there's certainly evidence that they've known for a long time that it posed health risks. That became much more public in the late 1990s, but you still didn't see much activity on a regulatory front. And then you advance into the late 2009, you start getting some information from the EPA, and then it has slowly snowballed from there. And now I would say we're on a much more accelerated pace, particularly in Michigan, where we have a lot of contamination, and we've probably had the most significant governmental response at the state level since that became public. Governor has a task force assigned. There have been regulatory limits set where previously there were none. So there's certainly a lot of activity right now.
Assuming that Kent County, Aaron, is ground zero for this PFAS contamination, the health concerns related to this substance, what are you seeing?
Well, you see a number of things. There was a 69,000 person study done a few years back in the Ohio, West Virginia area, and they came back with positive correlations with high cholesterol, ulcerative colitis, thyroid disease, pregnancy-induced hypertension, and testicular and kidney cancer. And that has similar findings have been found by other researchers. So this is something that there are really thousands of studies being done around the world on, and there are certainly negative health effects that are being found associated with it. And anybody can debate, I suppose, whether one particular health effect is caused by the exposure and at what level, but there certainly seems to be a consensus that it shouldn't be in our drinking water and it shouldn't be in our bodies. And the big problem is it doesn't go away. It works great for a water repellent on your shoe. It sticks to the leather on your shoe and it stays there forever, but it gets into your body, it also stays there forever. It ends up in organs, particularly the kidneys, liver, and it just attaches to that tissue and doesn't come out. And so that's something I'm sure we can all agree would be better off not to happen.
As an attorney working on this case, Aaron, I'm sure you've reached out to medical personnel because that's basically the gist of our conversation right now, the effect on humans. Are there those in the medical field that have said, yeah, indeed, this is the reason for these individuals failing health?
Yeah, absolutely. Particularly the issues that you have that have been studied for a longer period of time. Some of the certain cancers, the high cholesterol, some of those things there's pretty clear links, and there are a number of people that have had very high exposures. So many of us have low exposure because, as I said, it's in your carpet, it's just in the atmosphere now. But particularly in Kent County, where you've had massive groundwater contamination, some of the highest levels recorded anywhere, the EPA drinking water guideline is 70 parts per trillion, and we have drinking water wells over 50,000 parts per trillion. And people have been drinking that water for decades. So you have people with very high exposures and very serious illnesses. So that's going to be a matter of our litigation in our particular case, but there have been other litigation around the country focused on this as well.
Closing question, Aaron Phelps. There in Kent County, are you satisfied that the PFAS cleanup is satisfactory, or is this going to be a lingering problem for years to come?
No, it's going to be a lingering problem. The issue with PFAS is it gets in the water. It's very hard to get out, and the solution for the neighborhoods that are affected is to abandon their wells. The groundwater will always be contaminated, and drinking water systems, either filters temporarily, but long-term a municipal water system will need to be brought in to service those people. So there really isn't anything that I would call a satisfactory cleanup. It's an effort to get clean water to people on a long-term basis.
All right, Aaron, we appreciate your time. Thank you very much for the insight.
You're welcome. Have a good day.
All right, you too. That's Aaron Phelps, an attorney at Varnum, again representing clients in over 200 lawsuits against Rockford area shoe manufacturer Wolverine worldwide. You heard him here on the Paul W.